Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. So today we're doing a kind of topic that I do every once in a while because it's a sort of topic that can almost be agnostic to topic beyond the fact that it's about some secret or secrets that are about to be revealed to you. So what they're going to be about or that kind of thing is sort of fairly open. So today we're looking at two layers of that. It's sort of like it is ultimately what hidden truths are about to be revealed, but we're going to look at what others might be hiding from you that you're going to find out about. Maybe the entry to finding out about it will be this reading. And then there's also what might be you hiding from yourself. And then we'll have a look at how to best bring both those things up to light and use them for your best advantage. So who knows what we're going to get, but as a way of helping with the choice, I'm using a different tarot deck for each of the piles, so just for a different sort of feel and energy around it. And what I did was I shuffled and asked for the first major arcana card I deal out to be somehow indicative of the energy you bring to this coming to the surface, and maybe a little bit about what it's about. But I've got a couple of oracle cards underneath this. I don't know what they are yet. I know what deck they're from, but I don't know what they are yet. That'll give us a bit of an idea about what's being hidden by others and what's being hidden by you, or the areas of that, and then we'll explore it more with tarot and so forth. So for pile number one, we have the Gothic Literature Tarot with the Sun card. Excuse me. For pile number two, we have the Mystic Maiden's Love Tarot with the Hierophant. And for pile number three, we have the Dark Mansions Tarot with the Star. Of course, you can go to more than one reading if you like. There might be different things across different piles for you. Do whatever works for you. If you always go for a particular pile number, stick with that, whatever works for you. But when you know what reading or readings you want to go to, I've got the timestamps as always in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome, pile one, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the Gothic Literature Tarot. Now I've got to say there was an intent behind the different decks that I used, and I wasn't going to say it in the introduction because I didn't want to kind of lead somebody to that by anything other than their intuition. But to me, the Gothic Literature Tarot is a tarot that has many characters, particularly in the major arcana, from famous Gothic literature. Like here for the Sun, we have Jane Eyre from, obviously, Jane Eyre. And I feel Gothic literature is all about the intense connection with others. And it's usually a kind of a combination of the intensity of attraction or the psychology of something, along with whatever the social constraints were. Because a lot of the Gothic literature is written in probably more constrained social environments than we live in now. So I feel that whatever these are about, even though this actually looks kind of almost like it's playing out in a workplace, but we will see. It may or may not be, or there may be something else going on in the workplace that is very intense and that is impacting something. But it's certainly around other people. In both of them, both what you may be not seeing yourself or hiding from yourself, and also what others are hiding from you. But it's interesting, given Jane Eyre. So if we look at Jane Eyre as a bit of an idea, firstly, the Sun is all about optimism. So you may be either these truths may help you become more optimistic, or it may be that part of the truth is to unveil the optimism in a situation that seems dark or strange or not clear, because that's in a sense the story of Jane Eyre. I mean, she went to work for Mr. Rochester. He had his mad wife. All of that kind of stuff was going on. She didn't know the truth of what was going on, but she represented hope. She represented the light in all of that to him, and she needed to find that and sustain that to be able to go through the complexities of the story. So I feel for you, there is something here. There is a bit of a stressor when I'm looking at this energy. There is also a way, if you think about it, to deal with the stressor, which is in that energy. So this is what others are hiding. This is what you're hiding from yourself. It could have a romantic energy to it, but I feel as though if it does, it's a romantic situation that is in the middle of a lot of other people and a lot of other demands. Which again is a bit like Jane Eyre, like she came there to do a job, and then there was the romance as well, and there were all the secrets and so forth. So there's something around that, and not everybody who comes to this, it doesn't have to be about romance, but if it is, then I suspect there's something a bit hidden, unclear, and the impact of other people is very important. Otherwise, I think it's around a job that you've come to do or a vocation that you want to follow, something like that. So what others are hiding from you, if we look at this, we've got everything's on fire, and you go, oh, but you'll still have it finished by 5. I think it's possible that others are hiding the extent of demand that, say, a new job or a new role is going to have for you, or your vocation, or what's on their plate. You might, for instance, if there is a bit of an attraction with someone, it might be that they are just so swamped with everything else and they're not telling you that. So you're thinking, why do we never actually meet up? Why is it not going anywhere? There might be the fire of a passion, but it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. There's something hidden for you around pressure, demands and so forth. And it's maybe, say you had gone to a new job, it may be that it's a bit more chaotic in that workplace than they told you, or there's more demand. So it could be a classic thing for this might be that, you're told this is a job that has lots of flexibility and you can have work-life balance, and then you get there and their idea of work-life balance is every third Saturday you might be able to get a couple of hours to yourself, but that's about it. So there's something going on about pressure. So we'll see a little bit more about that. Either pressure that's going to be put on you, pressure on somebody else, or a bit of both. What you're hiding from yourself, interestingly enough, with squad goals, is that I think that you may feel in this situation that it's all up to you. But there are others around that can help. So if it's a love relationship, if you feel you're kind of alone, then there are others who could actually, be a shoulder to cry on or somebody to talk with. If it's in a workplace where there's a lot going on, the pressure might seem to be the buck stops here, but there are actually good people around you. And I think that you may be used to being resilient and just doing it yourself. And so you may need in this to find those people who can be allies rather than relying just on yourself. Because again, Jane Eyre, she had to be very resilient to have that optimism that the Sun card talks about. She had to have that resilience, and she often felt like she was on her own. The maid, if I recall the story correctly, was not friendly to her, all that kind of thing. But in this case, there are people around you. So that's good. There's more than you expected. But there's something that's a bit, well, the whole topic is about hidden, but when we're talking about Gothic literature, some of this stuff runs quite deep and there's a lot of psychology around it. So it may take a little bit of time to surface it. So let's see what we get with tarot. We're going to look at a little bit more about what's being hidden from you by others, a little bit more about what you're not seeing or hiding from yourself. And then we'll have a look for each, how you can bring it out into the sunlight. So it's a little bit more about this pressure cooker situation, which is what it looks like. The 9 of Ravens, that's the 9 of Swords in this deck. The 3 of Ravens, that's the 3 of Swords. The Emperor, Mr. Rochester, and Jane Eyre. That's interesting. It puts an interesting complexion on it, given we've used this particular tarot. The 5 of Chalices, or 5 of Cups reverse, that's the Emperor reverse, by the way, and the 2 of Torches, which is Wands. Okay. So, there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of stress in whatever the situation is. So I'm going to talk about it as a work thing and then maybe as a romance thing, because the fact that we've got Mr. Rochester, which is the romantic partner of Jane Eyre, I think it could well be for many of you that even if this is around some sort of group activity or work or something like that, there is a kind of maybe a little bit hidden attraction operating as well. But there's a lot on the plate, and fire is actually quite important to the Jane Eyre story if you know it. So that's kind of interesting that Mr. Rochester, the Emperor, has turned up reversed. But I think that there's a lot of, there is someone very worried in this situation. They may be dealing with a lot of pain from some past loss associated with it, or they may think that whatever is going on, if they have if they're drawn to you, may actually separate you. And they're not feeling very powerful in how to deal with it. They're trying to hide it. They're trying to hide the issue, which is a bit like this. Oh, like everything's on fire, but you'll still have it finished on time. It's kind of like they're trying to hide the pressure, I think. They've been hurt in some way or been disappointed. And it may, at its worst, well, let's talk romantic. If it's romantic, as I say, there's somebody who you're very much in their head and they have a great fear of the loss and they're hiding a lot of that. They've been hurt before, but they do feel there's a possibility here. So they're trying to put their bravest face on it and their best face on it. But there's a lot that they're hiding about things that have happened before with them or the scenario in which you've met. There's something complicated about it. So if it's about romance, that's you're going to become more and more aware of what the real issue is. If it's in a workplace, worst case scenario, this is someone who is not like a good boss, like they're going to kind of virally transmit all this pressure, and they haven't been honest about it, and they get easily disappointed, and it's right at the beginning of something. So it depends on the situation. So if you are starting a new job or something, just be aware that there's someone not telling you the truth about all of this. And it might disappoint you, or it might disappoint them, how you respond to it. Now, Jane Eyre was able to deal with a lot of this in The Sun. If anybody can do it, you can do it, but you do. And I do think this is the answer, which is why you need to go to the next one. If it's around work, it's about the other people around and how you can become like a team rather than doing it all yourself. But this sort of energy, if it's a work thing, could be quite divisive. So that's why you may not have thought that was possible. So let's have a look at what you might be hiding from yourself about this. We have the Four of Chalices, so the Four of Cups reversed. We have the Eight of Torches, Eight of Wands reversed. We have the Five of Torches, Five of Wands reversed. The Four of Torches, Four of Wands reversed. Gee, it's all about the energy and action. And the Six of Chalices reversed. Okay, so first thing I'm going to say about this, no court cards, no major arcana. You do have a bit of a blind spot around this situation, or maybe in general, which is that you don't automatically think who else can help. You don't think that. Now, that could be because people have let you down before, could be because you're fiercely independent. I don't know, but there's not other people around that. I think that's your blind spot, because I think there are people around who could. But you go very internal when this stuff goes on. So what's going on, why this needs to be brought to the surface, is that you have this, I'm going to find the sunshine. I'm coming out of the emotional rut, even if it takes me time. You also want freedom. I think that the irony about this is that you probably will become more free in a situation if it's a workplace by, being with other people and you're sharing it. But there's something about this where freedom to you is probably more, I do this myself. So that's an energy to be aware of. You don't want conflict. So you might also think, if I ask, I'm going to cause conflict. And you can see there is probably conflict around. Like, I've got to say, if this is a hidden truth around a workplace, it's going to be a complicated workplace. But I think that, like, you can see that people are almost pitted against each other, which could be this Emperor energy reversed. But you're hiding, in a sense, from yourself the fact that you could actually help to resolve that, and it could create an esprit de corps amongst the group. And you've got to almost let go of the rhetoric instantly. Like, there's something about, if this is around a job, you've been sold a bit of a bill of goods, I've got to say. It's like the recruitment drive has been a little bit more effusive and promising than the actual situation. And this is not uncommon, I've got to say. So letting go of those past things, and then maybe looking at how you shift from this independence into connection with others. It won't be as conflict-based as you think, but you expect that. Now, if it's not a workplace, if this is about love, if this is, it's the Rochester, Jane Eyre sort of thing, in a situation where the other person is under a hell of a lot of pressure and or is protecting you from that, or doesn't want you to know about the pressure or the complications, then there's family or other people issues around this. It doesn't have to be, though, as difficult as you think with the Five of Torches reversed. It's not going to be as difficult as you think. But it's almost like you have to be unsentimental and find your friends first. Like that, I think that's kind of what this is saying. If it's around love, find your friends around you first. Get your posse around you first. Then you can start to look at how to deal with the complexity of whatever this situation is. I don't envy you, pile one. Like, this is tricky either way, but you are very strong, and remember the sun is there, and things are not as difficult as you think. So we're just going to get 3 cards for how to really bring to the surface what this other person is hiding from you, and 3 cards to bring to the surface what you're hiding from yourself. So how do you bring to the surface what Mr. Rochester, in a way, is hiding from Jane Eyre in this situation, in your situation? The High Priestess, Bertha Mason. Oh, she's the other one in this thing. Like, I would say go and read Jane Eyre if you haven't, or watch a movie on it or something. The Hanged Man, Quasimodo. Wow. And the Nine of Chalices, So the Nine of Cups reversed. Okay, all right. I think I can see what this is saying. And then for you, the Two of Chalices, Two of Cups reversed, King of Chalices, King of Cups reversed, and the Ten of Torches, Ten of Wands reversed. Okay, all right. So firstly, for them, they feel the secret is too much and they really have to hide it away, because this, Bertha Mason was the character that was being hidden away. So they do feel they've got to hide this away. But interestingly enough, because she's being associated with the High Priestess here, there is that sense that there's almost an esoteric or spiritual way to connect in, to be able to sort of understand this. And I think that the delay or the not speaking is not coming from in that situation. And I think it's probably true also if it's around work, but let's talk about the love thing. It's not coming from an actual problem. It's coming from a sense of not being of value because of that, sort of being in some senses with the Hanged Man, like not able, having to self-sacrifice rather than actually have love, that kind of thing, rather than draw you into everything. It's sort of like keep it at the surface level and so forth. And what that's meaning is that this person is denying themselves the dream, but also potentially the risk of the loss of the dream, if that makes sense. So I think what could help bring it to the surface is to move forward with the optimism of the Sun around what is a good connection. And I think, interestingly, there's an answer there too, like having other people around who socialise with this situation and connect with this situation and are supportive, because there's sort of something very heavy that this person's carrying if it's around love. If it's around work, then I think you're dealing with someone who has a bit of divine discontent, I've got to say. They think that they're always having to sacrifice and take on all the burden. And they need to introspect a bit, because what they demand of people is not fair. But you may not be able to shift that a lot direct with them. It might be more what you can do collaboratively with others that gets them past this sense that it's never going to happen. They've always got to carry everything. There's almost sort of someone with a bit of a martyr complex that's then coming out, and they're in some sort of position of authority, I think. For bringing to the surface what you need to see, if it's about love, it's actually believing that it could happen. And I think this is where others could sort of like be a good support network for you. But there's also like working out how, and this is where others could help you, how can the burden of this be relieved a bit? Because again, it's almost like Jane Eyre kind of had to take on all of Mr. Rochester and his secrets. So it's like you're taking on a lot. I think this is, and there could be a denial either of the love, or if it's in work, you think it's like between you and the boss, and the boss puts all the burdens, but others can help you relieve the burdens. So I think it's either way, being too independent is not the answer. Because if it's around romance, the other person's a bit like that too. And like, it's like there's almost a kind of martyrdom or denial energy that operates with that. But if other people around it is made more social and it's more connected on that level, it kind of allows it to breathe. And if it's around work, other people can help you relieve some of the burdens that have been put on you. So I think this is what this is primarily saying. So let's get to the really straight talking side of it. So we've sort of like been listening to the tarot. So we're just going to get 3 straight talking pieces of advice around dealing with what you're learning that has been hidden by this person, 3 around like what you know, and then 3 around bringing it all together. So this is a deck that just kind of tells it straight with words and visuals. So we'll just see what we get. So around dealing with either, the demands of a workplace or something like that that's been hidden from you or misrepresented, and what you're going to experience, or someone who's got a very complex and pessimistic view to love, but nevertheless there is a drawing between the two of you. So the first piece of straight talking advice, don't be too closed. So don't let this close you down. There are ways of dealing with it, and possibly the person, even if in the workplace, it's not necessarily bad, but is just not particularly good at being a manager or delegating, that kind of thing. The second piece of advice is stop. Okay, so don't close, but stop. Probably stop to work out what to do. Like don't be closed off, but stop doing what you're doing. Stop just running on the treadmill for this, or stop just kind of like dealing with this without support. And positive vibes. Yeah, like you're bringing the positive, like maybe it's saying you can't just keep being just that. You can't be closed, but you can't just be the person who's all positive vibes as well too. So I think that's kind of connecting. It's like you need to kind of bring in other people and spread the load a bit. In terms of revealing to yourself the people that you can trust and the people who can help you in whatever this situation is. Top secret. Yeah, you can't hide it all away. You're going to have to share some of this. You're very private. Again, Jane Eyre would have been very private. Question why it is that you don't believe in others or believe that that will work or believe in yourself enough. Like you need to kind of think about that. Where is your beliefs, or your lack of belief getting in the way? Yeah, and trust yourself. Trust yourself in a different way, I think, here. Because it might be if you have a lack of belief that you can share it, you might think you just have to do it all yourself. But I think this is trust yourself to be able to believe that you'll find the people that you can connect with. And so then if you bring it all together, break free. There's a way of breaking free from too much of a load, too many secrets, whatever it might be. Freedom, yeah, freedom. There's a lot to do with freedom here. For some of you, it may be leaving the wrong workplace. It may be leaving a relationship that's just not going to shift. Or it could be freedom for both of you from whatever history this other person feels like they have to hide. And beware. Okay, so I think this is because it's a collective reading. So for some of you, freedom will be to come together with this person. For some of you, it will be to leave a workplace. For some of you, it may be that when you get the freedom of connecting in, you're going to work out that this is not a good relationship or a good connection to stay with. It's sort of like, but it's also, I think it's, when it's saying right at the beginning, don't be closed and you need to believe in yourself and bring this to the surface. It's beware just thinking about it as a way of an escape as well. This is meant to bring to the surface what's really going on and what's possible. And remembering that the sun is about what's possible. So I think it very much depends on the situation as to what it's telling you. So let's see some stars to guide you. Air. Okay, it's a lot about communication, thinking it through, thinking before you act probably. And we have waxing crescent moon, the setting, set your intentions. So think about what you want. That might help you work out who can help, and it can also make you assess this better. And Virgo. Okay, I think for many of you it is about work. I've got to say a vocation. It kind of felt that at the beginning. But otherwise it's integration in some way. Virgo is about integration and healthier things, healthier relationships, integrating other people's viewpoints, all of that kind of thing. So it's either about service and where service is right and whether you're being asked to do too much and whether you can like share the load or whether you need to break free. But there's something about integrating your energy with others to solve the problem. Okay, so let's see so it's a couple of signs. One for that the secret has really come to the surface with this person, and one where you're seeing something clearer for yourself and where you can get support. Now, these are symbols that often turn up in dreams, so it could be they come in your dreams, but they could also be you hear a song lyric that's about it. You could see someone wearing a T-shirt with a picture that aligns with it. If it's sort of like there's various in this deck, various body parts, so if you sort of feel a sort of release of tension in that part of your body, just look for these sort of things as a sign. It'll tell you that the secrets and the information you need are surfacing. So around what someone's hiding from you, we have whole, dark, feminine, feeling trapped, death, subconscious. Okay, so I think this could be, you could see a hole in an outfit, like a piece of clothing that you have. You could see, like an opening to a tunnel or something like that if you're sort of walking through a foresty area. You could dream about holes, tunnels, all of that kind of thing. And any kind of dream or feeling that makes you feel trapped, this is pay attention to what's going on around that because it's trying to show you something about what's been hidden. And then in terms of the energy for you revealing to yourself how you can connect with others. Okay, we have crying, unprocessed grief, hidden feelings, loss, pain, sadness. I think, maybe it is that you have a good cry with somebody. Maybe you dream of sort of crying about something with somebody and that tells you that person can be trusted. Maybe someone else shares their grief with you and then you can actually reciprocate. You may hear songs about crying. You may see someone crying. Again, just pay attention to the signs. Okay, so let's just bring it together with what your 5D self would say to you about this situation, just to close out the reading. Emotional tapestry. Your emotions are a delicate tapestry that weaves growth, awareness, and wisdom into your life. I think there is something very emotional about this, whether it's work or whether it's around love or any of those sort of things, and the connections you have with others and how you deal with these issues and how you understand them in someone else, particularly if there's grief or loss or whatever associated with it. You need to get in touch with your emotions more. I think you're very stoic. And I think the more you can get in touch with your emotions and share that with the right people, the more you can understand and deal with this and decide, is it something you have to be free from or is it something that you can help to heal? So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the Hierophant from the Mystic Maiden's Love Tarot. And what I didn't say in the introduction, because I didn't want to lead people just by the thought of it, I wanted your intuition or whatever works for you as a method to pick your pile. What I didn't say is that I actually had an intention behind each of the tarot decks that I chose. So in this one, we have the Mystic Maiden's Love Tarot, and it could be picking up love, though what I was really, really focusing on, what I feel with this deck, I feel it's a very spiritual deck. I feel that it's I do use it sometimes for much more pragmatic sort of things or particular personality aspects, but I feel like it's about the mystical and the spiritual. So I feel that there's something in what's going to be hidden or revealed to you that has a spiritual nature. Now, it could be, given what we're looking at in terms of what others are hiding and what you're hiding from yourself, it could be a spiritual element or a spiritual understanding in a workplace or in something in terms of your vocation. It could be about, you could actually do a spiritual thing as a job or a vocation, or you may be called to do that in some way. You could work within, with the Hierophant card, a very spiritual sort of like organization or something like that. So it sort of depends, but what's sort of come out in the everyday oracle around what is being hidden by others and what's being hidden from yourself feels like you are on the verge of moving up the ladder in some way or being successful in some way or graduating in some way, picking up the Hierophant energy. And maybe at this point you don't see it, it's being hidden, but it's there, and maybe you don't feel ready with the imposter syndrome. So I think that might be what Spirit wants to talk to you about here. So it doesn't have to be in a spiritual context. But there may be a spiritual answer to, or your spiritual knowledge may help you in navigating this if it's in a more pragmatic level. But as I say, the intent was spiritual around this one. So I do think it's going to be part of what's revealed and part of the answer. So what we're going to look at is, with tarot, it's a little bit more about what one person or more people are hiding from you. And I think for you, when we see promotion here, it's that you're ready or something's about to happen in that space. So I think it's only going to be hidden for a period of time. Worst case scenario, some people might see you're ready for a promotion and might be trying to stop it. So we will see what happens. That's your worst case scenario. But otherwise, I think by and large, you're seen as ready. Whereas for you, imposter syndrome, I think you are ready, but underneath you're hiding from yourself or worry about whether you are. And most people feel this at some stage. So it's, again, not anything to stop you, but if you understand it and bring your spiritual awareness to it, I think you can move beyond that. So we're going to look firstly a little bit more about what's being hidden by others and why. And then we're going to look at what you're hiding and why. And then we'll look at how to bring each of those things more into the light so that you can see them clearer. So firstly, a little bit more about what might be being hidden from you in terms of your status, your position, your capacity to be promoted, literally if it's about work, or you're graduating, or being seen as rising up, or your status rising in some way. So, Wheel of Fortune, Five of Pentacles, the Moon, Four of Cups reversed, Queen of Pentacles reversed. Okay. So I think what this looks like to me, and I think you'll know whether this is the right reading for you, is that a time is coming, a good opportunity is coming. And you don't know about it because wherever you've been, you felt a bit isolated or a bit alone. It could be that you felt very different and you felt, I don't really fit in here. And in actual fact, that's the very thing that's going to make you be promoted or seen and or rising or whatever. Or you felt for a while that you're underpaid and unseen or whatever. But the reality is the wheels are turning. Somebody is seeing you. This hasn't been said. If it's in a workplace or some sort of group, it's just not a group or workplace where they talk to you about it till it happens. You maybe didn't get put on a high potential program or something, but you're seen that way. But for some time, one of the reasons it's hidden is that you've been a bit isolated, and there might be something in the environment that does that. It might be something about the workplace or the group or whatever it is that we're talking about, or if it's at university, the course, there's almost a kind of everybody's kind of on their own. They don't really know. They can't see when the wheel of fortune is coming for them. And I think that you may have felt either passed over before, so this is one of the reasons why this is going to be a surprise, or it's possible that what's going to happen with this, and it's not bad, I don't think, but it's just aware, is that it might start off with something that's not long term. So like a classic of this would be you're coming out of a sense of being stuck, which is good. Like once this comes to the surface, you'll see that something's lucky. The timing is good, but it's a short-term thing. So it could be, like you get an opportunity to be promoted on an acting level. And you need to know that you're ready for this. That's why they're doing it. But it may not be available as a permanent role at the moment, but it's an indication that they're seeing you as ready. So I think that might be the other sort of side of it. It's sort of a little bit hidden from you because it's not like, everybody knows somebody's leaving or whatever. It's going to come up for some reason. Maybe somebody is, put on a project and you're given the opportunity to act in their role or something like that. It's fortunate, but it's hidden at the moment till that's done. And it may also be, the other thing that could be going on here is that someone is it actually isn't going to be temporary. It's because someone else is not feeling loyal and is going to move on. So maybe certain people know that's coming and you don't know it. So it could be either. But there's something like that going on. And I feel like you won't see this coming. But when it comes, it is a good opportunity for you. So that, however, I think then that it's almost that happens and then this happens. Then you've got to actually kind of bring to the surface any kind of imposter syndrome. It might be you feel, I'm not ready for this yet or whatever, but you are. The thing about imposter syndrome is you actually are ready, but you sort of feel, oh no, there must be some special source that I don't have. And that's not the case. And people don't think that. So let's see, what you are hiding from yourself that's bringing on this imposter syndrome. Queen of Wands. Three of Wands reversed, Devil reversed, Knight of Pentacles, Two of Cups. Okay. So there's a few things that could be going on here that could be triggering the imposter syndrome and how you might respond to a promotion. So the first thing is that you may be you're hiding from yourself your own brilliance, your own ability, and how well people see you. You may have felt very alone. I think you've felt very alone in this situation. Like it's something about the nature of the workplace or the, as I say, study group or whatever it is. I think you felt really different. You felt alone. And you didn't realize that was really well thought of. You kind of just felt like, I don't fit in. And I think there's also something about the environment where you think the environments can hide a lot, like it's not being open about how it chooses people or what it really values. And there's a part of you that almost just wanted to leave. Like it's almost like right at the moment that you might think, I'm going to leave this workplace or I'm not going to finish this study course or whatever it is. This is when this happens and it's like a real surprise. But you feel like, I don't belong here. This isn't me. And you're not seeing how much people think your difference is what makes you valuable. So you want to be loyal and very dedicated to something, and you have been, but you also don't want to upset relationships and so forth. So there's also like, if you were chosen amongst a group, you think, is anybody, amongst my peers going to agree with this, or are they just going to think, who is he or she, so there's something like that going on. It's also possible for some of you that the impact of this change on a personal relationship, a love relationship, is something that is going to somehow come to the fore. And you may have to kind of look at is, like at its worst case scenario, it could be where you've been with someone who's always been more successful as you, and now maybe you're going to be as successful. So it's sort of, am I ready for that as well? It just depends. But there's a possibility with that energy as well too. So you might be trying to hide the Queen of Wands energy and almost take on the imposter syndrome rather than owning where you're at. So it depends, again, like this is a collective reading. It's going to depend upon who comes to the reading. But I feel like you have a sense of loyalty to what you do. And this may be a sense of like, am I rising above what I should? But it's not that. You really need to understand that you're ready. You're ready for this. So let's see 3 cards that could help you deal with the surprise, because I think you're going to be told this truth. I think you're going to be offered something. And then 3 cards to deal with your reaction, which is to sort of be a bit overwhelmed by it. So how to deal when the revelation is done that, you've been tapped on the shoulder for either an acting or a permanent promotion or something of that nature, or or the best honours result at uni or whatever it might be. 7 of Swords reversed, Page of Swords, 10 of Cups, okay? And the best way to deal with, your kind of initial, oh my God, is this too much sort of energy? 7 of Pentacles reversed, High Priestess, Knight of Swords. And this is getting to why there's a spiritual aspect to this, which is what I always felt with this particular reading because of the deck, but I'll get to that. Over here, just be realistic that they're not making this up, okay? So if you get a really good result, if you're sort of raised above in some way in a group, there's a good reason for it and it's realistic. And what is being communicated to you is honest. There really isn't any strings attached to this. And it will be okay. It will be okay with other people. You're seen as part of the family. If you felt different, you're actually not. And you're just meant to enjoy it. Like, I think it's like, just take it on face value. It's being realistic. It's true. It's being clearly said to you. Listen to what it and accept it, I think. In terms of how you deal with that, if that's a little bit overwhelming, don't think that you have to grow everything instantly. Like, it's just kind of just sort of like feel your way into it with the High Priestess and spiritually feel your way into it. You don't have to rush anything with the Knight of Swords. So it's sort of like, just take your time. And I think with the Queen of Pentacles reversed here, I think for most of you it is going to be almost like a temporary thing that you get to try something out. And if you look at it that way, then it'll work best for you. But if it is permanent and somebody's left or whatever, then don't consider, I'd say here, that if they didn't make it work, nobody makes it work. You feel into this and work out what it is for you. So I think this is actually really good. I think it's a really good energy coming through. But let's get some straight talking around it. Let's see 3 cards of straight talking around when this is revealed that others have kept secret from you, your response, and then bringing it all together. So around how this is going to be delivered to you so that you know it. Depression, okay. It may be for some of you that you've seen somebody not happy and that's why it's occurred. Or it may be just when you're feeling depressed, that's when this energy comes through. We have take your time. Okay. While you can take your time in feeling into it once you've done it, I think you're going to have to very quickly go yes. Like it's I wouldn't say about the judgment card, the way I describe that is you've got to kind of make the decision pretty quickly. It's the call. You need to get the call. So if you get this offer, it's not like you can take 3 weeks to decide. You've probably got a reasonable limited time that you can decide in. So don't think you have to have all the answers because it will work out. It will work out. And they know what they're doing and they're telling you the truth. And calm down. Yeah, don't worry about it. They know what they're doing. You are ready for this. And so for you, and dealing with the imposter syndrome, you don't have to, firstly, you don't have to kind of do something massively different or think differently to move into this. They've recognized you're ready for this. And it doesn't mean you have to have a completely wholesale different view about everybody else. It's not requiring that of you. That what they've seen in you, they like. Yeah, so you're feeling a little bit close to this. So just be aware of that. Karma, it's your time. Wheel of Fortune. Like, actually be open to the fact that, don't close off about this or think that you've now got to be different, because it's in fact what is different about you that they like. This is the right time for you. and then how you bring all that together. Seduction reverse. It's being honest. Like, I think you feel there's something, like there's a hidden sort of set of criteria to this, and there really isn't. Yeah, you really wonder if it's authentic or whether you're the authentic thing, but you are. I think you're going to have to judge by what they say because I think they're more accurate in this situation. And warning, yeah, the warning is if you think about it that way. Because that, like, the warning is not to recognize that you're dealing with imposter syndrome, and you in fact shouldn't, that the people have got a good reason for what they're doing. They're being honest with you. But I think you're overly cautious, and it might have to do with why somebody left or what you've seen before or something like that. Or that you felt like, I felt so kind of isolated here. How could they be choosing me? What's the subtext of all this? But it actually, the things that you thought were a problem with you are actually what they like. Okay. So let's get you some stars to guide you. I mean, really, it's just kind of like, just jump in and see what happens. You're going to find it works out. North Node, yeah, this is what you're supposed to be heading towards. It's what you're meant to be doing. That's why it has a spiritual overlay. It's feels very vocation work, or kind of education-wise with the Hierophant and with the cards that came up there. But it really is spiritual because this is something you're meant to be doing. Conjunction, it's the right connections. And if there is something about romance around this in the workplace, it's sort of like if you're chosen in that way as well, or if that's part of it, or if it has to do with your partnership, there is a way to deal with this and make it work. And Cancer, so you're being quite self-protective. But interesting, the tarot card that associates with Cancer is the Chariot, and that is about destiny as well. So you understand you've got enough of a protective shell. You've got some good connections and you're heading in the right direction. Like, I feel like I've got to be a cheerleader here because I feel like you really underestimate yourself. So let's look at some signs that this is about to be revealed. So firstly, that the offer or whatever this is coming. Secondly, that you have to start to look at that thing around yourself and what you should focus on. So these could be things that turn up in dreams. They could turn up synchronistically in some way in your life. You could see someone with a T-shirt with an image like this on it. You could hear a song lyric. But it's like meant to be a sign that energy is around, or that something important about it is around to pay attention to. So around the promotional energy itself. Boots, hardworking, down-to-earth, grounded, ready. It's like these boots were made for walking, that kind of thing, like you might hear that song, or that kind of energy. This is you putting on the boots. This is you walking into it and feeling grounded. It's like that's the important thing. This is well grounded. This is well founded, and it's meant to take you forward. But like as I say, if you dream about boots, if you happen to put on a really nice pair of boots and that's the day it happens, who knows? That's just a sign for you. And then for you, in understanding your imposter syndrome issues, the sign, name meanings. Okay, example, Olivia means olive tree, symbol of peace. So I think this might be, how do you name? Well, your name might have something to do with it. It could depend on that. Like if you have a name meaning that you feel draws away from this, then understand the impact that's having. But otherwise, I think it's, how do you name things? How do you name value? How do you name yourself? What words are you using to associate with yourself? Because you should be associating yourself with somebody who's on the rise, not someone who's kind of got somewhere accidentally. Okay, so last but not least, let's just see what your 5D self wants to say about this message for you. Explore. A soul adventure calls you. Yeah, and this is spiritual. This is a spiritual thing. This is part of your life path. Explore the uncharted waters of your inner and outer world. Yeah, the inner world where you doubt yourself and you shouldn't. The outer world where the world wants to congratulate you and promote you and so forth. So I think it's an extremely positive message, but I think you're far too hard on yourself. So hopefully this will nudge you in the direction of like grabbing the opportunity and running with it and learning just how far you can go. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the star from the Dark Mansions Tarot. And what I didn't say in the introduction, because I didn't want to sort of lead kind of lead somebody towards something, I wanted you to intuitively choose the right reading or readings for yourself, is that each of the decks I chose for a very specific purpose, like for a type of secret to be revealed or a type of area of life. And to me, the Dark Mansions Tarot is sort of, it feels like it's a very social thing. Social media, social interactions, friendships, love within that sort of milieu, sometimes the professional sort of networks you have, but it feels like a social sort of deck. It looks to me like society in Victorian England or something like that. And all the sort of subtext of relationships and connections and social interactions and status that comes from that. So I thought it was very interesting that the Star card came out. And I felt that this was in some form of social context. Your star is on the rise. And so that is having an impact on both what might be hidden from you and what you might hide from yourself, or what you understand of something that you're hiding from yourself. So then it's very interesting. What we have here is 2 everyday oracle cards, and one is about what is being hidden from you, and the second one is what you're hiding from yourself. So I think that's the reason for that you're hiding from yourself, which I'll get to. I don't think that you would be hiding from yourself if someone ghosted you because you'd know. But the reasoning for it, what's actually going on. And I think it's the same person as here. So I think that probably, we'll see what we get with tarot, but probably because someone is jealous of your rise, and this could be someone that you thought you would have a love relationship with, but it could be a friendship, it could be anything really, but it's more I think it's more in the social environment, even if this could impinge on you being on the rise in terms of being celebrated in some sort of social or even career way. But I feel like someone is hiding from you, that you can't trust them, that they're a snake, basically a snake in the grass, and they're jealous, I would say. Jealous, or they want to control, or they the other thing is that they could be offering you something to help you, become a star, but like the reality is that there's some other agenda going on. But I think like for most, it's probably going to be jealous or something like that, someone who's trying to work against what you're doing. And so it's important for you to understand that, because your star's meant to be on the rise. I think that for many of you, you may have either wanted a relationship with this person, or they were a friend or something like that, and they have withdrawn a lot because of this. And what you're maybe hiding from yourself is why, which I think is the jealousy and that sort of thing. But we'll see as we go with the tarot. So we're going to firstly get a little bit more information about what is being hidden by this other person, or potentially group of people. It could be group of people in a social context who are jealous, competitive, that kind of energy. And then we'll look at some cards around why you might be not wanting to look at what's going on there. Why, if people have sort of stepped back, you don't want to sort of see it as that or what's going on. And then we'll look at how to bring these revelations to the surface. So first, a little bit more about the snake in the grass. Page of Cups, Knight of Wands reversed, Page of Pentacles, Page of Wands, the Empress. Okay, all right. I think for most of you, this is probably someone who was initially, or maybe even still is sort of a bit around you as a potential love interest or a friend, but it could be friend, but a lot with Page of Cups leading out, it's probably more likely to be romantic. This person's very immature. That's what's really going on here. You coming up as the Empress and the Star, I think they're coming up as like 3 of the pages, and then the Knight of Wands is reversed. This is not a mature person. This is a person who may, have been attracted to you, may have some ambitions, may, have some ego issues, but they're feeling that they're not moving forward and you are. So, it could be classically, if you had been going out with someone and when you first met, either it looked like their star was on the rise, or you were kind of both at the same level. Like, let's give it an example. Let's use the star in its most colloquial sense. Let's say you're an actor or an actress and your partner, this person, is as well. And when you first started, you're both kind of in, I don't know, local theatre and you're doing well. And then something happens and you've got, a gig on TV or a movie or something, and they don't. That's the kind of energy around this. It's just an example. But what's going on is there's an immaturity. This person feels they should be rising. Now, it is possible that it's a friendship rather than a partner. It could be a group of people who all feel they should be the ones the star is on the rise. But you are definitely coming into an abundant area, and that's what you need to understand, that the response to this is not friendly. It's immature. It's I want it. Why didn't I get it? Why is it slower for me? So you're going to start to see that, and it could sort of come from, like, a group could be separating out from you if it's not just one person. So it could be people who were your friends, suddenly you're not sort of seeing much of them anymore. And they have kind of like turned it into, well, you're stuck up, or you're kind of, so full of yourself or whatever. But that's not really what's going on. It's a very immature thing. And the more that this goes on, the more that you're going to see it. I think the important thing to know, though, is that this is the time for you to rise, that they've got to sort it out themselves. And if they can't, then you should be happy they're out of your life, because they're just going to be snakes. They're not going to be trustworthy. So then let's have a look at what you might be hiding from yourself if this is happening, because it could be a very painful thing, whether it's one person or a group of people. You may not want to think that this is happening. So let's see a little bit more about that. Eight of Wands reversed. Eight of Cups reversed. Nine of Wands reversed. 10 of Cups. Judgment reversed. Okay. I would say whether this was a relationship or friendships, and again, it's going to depend on who comes to this reading. Could be a bit of both, though, for anybody. Your success, growth, abundance is going to make those who are jealous separate out from you. But originally, it seemed like you were all very happy and friendly. And so it's going to make it a little bit difficult. You need to know that you're going to feel unfairly judged, and you are being unfairly judged. And it hurts more in a way when it's from people who you thought you were friends or your lover or whatever. But knowing that that's going on, because the reality is that trying to sort of push, like trying not to just let that occur and dissipate will be very prickly. They'll be very prickly with you. So if you try and slow that down and deny it to yourself, then each time you reach out, it's not going to be a pleasant situation. So I think you've got to say a little bit of tough love here. You are meant to be doing really well, and it's your time. And if there are people in your life who can't deal with that, that's their problem. And like trying to appease them is not going to work, and it's not going to make you feel better. Maybe some of them will grow up and come back to you, but if not, you've got to move on and find the people who are, at your level and equal to you and not going to do that with you. But I do think it's a little bit uncomfortable. It's a little bit unfair, but it does happen. So let's see how to bring the snakes in the grass to the light. 3 cards for that, and 3 cards for you to kind of come to terms with why the ghosting is occurring, and understanding that it's actually a sign that you're on the right path, and to bring more discernment in for you around it. So how do we find the snakes in the grass? 10 of Swords reversed. 10 of Pentacles reversed. The World. Okay. And what about how do you bring to light understanding why this is, so that you can face it and move on? 2 of Pentacles reversed. The Fool. 7 of Wands. Okay, all right. So for many of you, something quite dramatic might happen. Like you might hear about some gossip or something like that, or it could be an argument. It'll cut it all off. Like something, either it's dramatic, you just don't hear from it anymore, and that's it, and it's over, and you know it's over, whether it's a love relationship or a friendship. Or there's a kind of a drama around the group. The group dissolves to some degree, or the connections dissolve. But it's like you will know it from its completion. It's like what appeared to be great friendships just suddenly gone. It's like one of those sort of situations where you might hit a brick wall with someone, and that's it. You never talk with each other again. Just happens. And there's no way to repair that. It's over. So I think you'll kind of just know by, and as I say, it might be for a while you just want to think, oh, it's ghosted, it's not over, but you'll come to that conclusion that this relationship or these relationships, and they shift a lot, it's over. And I think it's how you start to understand this is you realize you don't have a choice in the matter, really. Like it's just going to happen because the people are jealous. But it's meant to make you feel brave to step into what you do. So you go, okay, I can now step out into my destiny, into what I'm meant to do, and understand that I'm ready to compete, in a higher level than these people. So yes, they're not giving me the choice for us to connect, but in a way they don't have the choice to even follow you because there's a reason that you've risen. So it's important for you to understand that. Okay, so it's sort of one of those kind of like double-edged swords, because it is a painful thing in a way to realize this about people, particularly if we've felt they were really good friends or a lover or whatever it might be. But equally, it's a sign that you're growing and moving forward and becoming who you are. And it's the first step towards finding the people that are at your level and are right for you. But, so it's got a silver lining, but it's a double-edged sword as well. So let's just get some straight talking about each. So straight talking around dealing with the reveal of the snake or snakes in the grass. Queen reverse. Yeah, they're jealous as hell. It's jealousy. It's jealousy. And they can't do what you're doing, certainly not now. Finish line ahead, yeah. You probably already know who these people probably are. You probably already know this is in play. Think different. Yeah, think differently about all of this. Understand it. Don't take it to heart. Think differently. Understand. And also it's what's unique about you, what's bright and shiny about you. That focus on that rather than on those that aren't shining as bright. What about dealing with it and like accepting that you're sort of moving on? Be happy. Be happy about it. I mean, that's easy to say. It is a little bit painful, this, but know that this is because you're becoming who you're meant to become. Mistakes. You may have felt you've made some mistakes. Maybe you have sort of like tried to chase it. Just give yourself time, just like the eraser there. Like you can erase those things. You don't worry about that. Just kind of move forward, and find the people that are right for you. Like it's like that. Don't just become really alone. Find and connect with the people at the level that you're operating at now, and then bringing it all together. State of emergency. It probably feels like that. Like when you realize that kind of like people are really jealous or betraying you, like, but I think that's also like, know that like it's time to just kind of take the step and move forward. Don't let this sort of hold you back. Closed. Okay. Yeah. Don't let it close. It would be an emergency if you closed down what you were doing. But it feels really uncomfortable. I'm sorry, pole 3, but I do think that, in the end it'll be really good. Fake news, yeah, because like they may be gossiping and saying things that are unfair. And I think that's also saying, like, if you're hearing like things that aren't fair about you, kind of just close the door to it, because it's all fake and it'll be quite obvious that it is. Okay, let's get you some stars to guide you. Taurus. Yeah, the good life, status and everything. This is your time for that, and there's nothing wrong with it. They might try and make you feel guilty for that. They might go, oh, you're a sellout or something like that. None of this is true, if that's the case. Taurus it's good to want to have the life, status, possessions, whatever it is you want. As long as you're not doing anything unethical, then it's fine. We have the waxing gibbous moon, adjustments, clarify your direction and intention. Yeah, like get back on the path of what you want here. Don't let other people guilt you out of it or repress you in some way. And 12th house, yeah, you may need to sort of withdraw from them a bit. Go within yourself, not withdraw from everybody, but from those that are doing that, and kind of like understand the psychology of it, because it's a psychological thing here. It's a jealousy. That's what it's all about. Okay, let's look at some signs or synchronicities for you. One, which is where it's going to get to that point where it's just obvious that these people are snakes in the grass, or this person is a snake in the grass. And then where you're becoming clearer about what's actually happened so that you can free yourself and move on. So synchronicities could come up in dreams. They could be linked to song lyrics. You could see somebody with a picture like this on a T-shirt. Doesn't matter what it is. Just pay attention to what's going on at that time, because it connects you to what this reading is trying to let you know. So around the snakes in the grass. Oh, that makes sense. The toilet. Detox, catharsis, shame, embarrassment, cleansing, removal. Understand, that's kind of what, flush it away, honestly. Like you don't feel shame yourself, but understand that what they're doing is kind of shameful, and really you just should flush it away. think that's Spirit being very clear about the energy that's going on here. And then for you to get to that point, you go, okay, I'm getting it, I'm seeing it. So I can actually start to step out and find my people and the level I'm meant to be at. Okay, secret room, self-discovery, personality, memories, hidden resources. This is where you kind of go within yourself and you find who you really are and all the stuff that you have. And you don't have to, like with the 12th house, you don't have to tell everybody what you're doing. You just need to move towards your resources and so forth and what your personality is saying rather than everybody else's. Okay, to finish up, we'll just see what your 5D self wants to say to you about this, pile 3. Falling awake. When a situation falls apart, your darkest hour becomes the dawn of your awakening. Yeah. This is a good thing. It may feel painful, I have to be honest. But it's only painful because there was a dream of what these connections were and they were never really that. Once you understand the only thing that you're mourning would have been the idea you had of these relationships or this relationship, and you're heading to what is more real and what is more you, then that is actually a really big breakthrough for you, and so that you can start to really become all that you could be and find the right people for you. But it is a bit of a painful thing that's being revealed here, but really, in a sense, I want to say to you, they're not worth it, to be honest, but you have to go through that process for yourself. So I hope that this resonates for you. I hope that any pain of it is of short duration and the joy of all that you can become is of a much longer duration. If you did resonate with this reading, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.